What did your roommate from hell do to earn their title? Hey friends, it would make my day if you take 2 seconds to like this video by giving it a big thumbs up, and consider clicking the red subscribe button below for new daily videos. My college roommate ran out of pot, so he tried to boil down his bong water to hash in my microwave using my Tupperware. The residue ended up fusing with the plastic at the bottom of the container, so he scraped it out with a razor blade and smoked a big bowl of plastic and bong water concentrate with the windows closed. Is he dead? More importantly, did it work? He would always leave his dog for too long, and she would shit on the floor. It was an old dog, and I'm sure at one point it wasn't an issue. The problem was, this guy didn't even try to do anything to fix the issue. I'd get home from work every day and walk into a house that punched me in the face with shit smell when I opened the door. We talked to him about it over and over again, and he'd just blow it off. What did he finally do when he got fed up with us complaining? He put the dog down. We just wanted him to maybe come walk her while on break at work. His job was 5 minutes down the road. I can still feel the tension in the room when we found out she was gone. Literally murdered a man at my house. I had to testify. Had a friend come home to his roommate chopping up another roommate over a PS4. Here's a link to an article about it. I had a roommate that would shit in the shower and put it through the small holes of the drain. He never got it all. It was obviously disgusting. LOL. Reminds me of a thread where someone's partner was worried they were shoving their shit down the drain. Turns out, they were using a scrub or soap that had coffee grounds in it. Please tell me you have a link for that post. LOL. Here you go. Chugged 3/4 a bottle of vodka and shat on my bed while I was away for the weekend. Was your roommate Amber Heard? Objection. Hearsay. Not super terrible, but we went to a party. He got drunk super quick and saw some people he didn't want to be around and walked home. About an hour later, me and my other roommate headed home too. When we pulled into the driveway, we saw lights on in the living room, which quickly went off. When we got inside, we saw a massive person-sized hole in the hallway wall into the bathroom. Our roommate was pretending to sleep, and when we asked him what the F happened, he said, someone broke in, didn't try to steal anything, but just busted a hole in our wall from inside of the bathroom into the hall. I should add, then slipped out the still locked back door. They didn't see him laying on the couch at all either apparently. Edit. Dude was a compulsive liar. My favorite lie was that he had his whole head tattooed to look like a skull, but it faded, so no one can tell anymore. University. One roommate moved out, switching with this weird Russian, without telling me. Guy ended up being some sort of gun runner, got arrested, hung himself in jail. When I went in his room after, he had pictures of all the university's female athletes on his walls, but he'd cut all their eyes out and had shot them with a BB gun. Perfectly normal, perfectly healthy. My roommate masturbated on the only dry towel in the bathroom, so when I took a shower, I wiped his jizz all over myself while I was drying off. F. Dude, so simple, but easily one of the worst here. She stole my underwear, wore them, then reported me to our boarding school for having personal, inappropriate underwear. When I confronted her for stealing them, she got in trouble for theft, but I still got in trouble for having clothes outside the dress code, even though I threw them out after I saw them in her dirty laundry hamper. I had a roommate from hell in college. He was assigned randomly by the school in the dorms. What made him the roommate from hell? He was from Hell, Michigan. He was a great guy. He was quite clean and well, generally respectful of everyone. Thought I'd inject a little positivity with my technically correct answer. This deserves more attention on this wild thread. I once had a roommate who kept cranking the temperature way up. I'm talking like 28 degrees Celsius or 85 Fahrenheit. The landlord kept coming over to turn it way down as he was paying the bill. This meant we had the landlord coming over basically every day for a month. Finally, he turned the temperature to a very generous 22 Celsius, set up a lockbox to cover the thermostat. My roommate came home, got wasted, took a hammer, and smashed the box to pieces. and turned the temperature up to 28 degrees again. This by itself was just mainly amusing, but he also was stealing my stuff, borrowing money without paying it back, and hosting late night dance parties to Nelly Furtado music. He claimed he had never used a vacuum in his life and didn't know how. One time, he put a frozen pizza in the oven, together with the cardboard. I smelled burning and raced downstairs to remove smoldering paper from the oven before it caught fire and burnt our house down. I asked him what he was thinking, and he said, "That's the way we do it in Spain. No shame, no apology." Not my roommate, but I lived across the hall, and my best friend had to share the living space with him. I'll call him Chad. Chad didn't like sharing his room, so he tormented his roommate by inviting Tinder dates over almost every night, never gave a warning or heads up, blasting loud music 24/7, and of course, never cleaned up after himself. Once he got the room to himself, he took out one of the desks and slid the two twin-size beds together to make the mega bed. A week later, a new roommate is assigned to Chad's room, but Chad wasn't willing to share, nor did he feel like communicating it with his new roommate. Chad proceeds to leave the room a mess and vehemently insists that the RA's made a mistake and tried to explain that his room is actually a single unit and refused to move the desk back in. His roommate slept on their living room couch during this time. His roommate ended up moving out after Chad made homophobic remarks, saying he didn't feel comfortable sharing a room with someone who might try to come onto me, even after his roommate explained, "Yes, I'm gay, but that don't mean I'm attracted to all men, especially you." Toward the end of the semester, Chad asks his other housemates how often should one wash a towel. His housemates asked and learned that Chad had used only one towel for the entire semester and never once washed it. The smell alone could melt a rotten egg. They suggested he burn the towel or dispose of it. Chad proceeds to dispose of it in their living room trash can, and due to the toxic odor, propped it up against a window, refusing to bring the towel down the hall to the trash chute. Chad is a piece of shit. He's now a Supreme Court judge. To name a few things, would have the loudest sex one could have with their partner. Loud enough that I got at least 3 unique complaints from neighbors. Physically threatened me on multiple occasions. Cooked disgusting meals and covered the kitchen in food scraps and generally did nothing to clean. Her dog would poop on the floor pretty much every day, sometimes more than once, and took no effort to train away the behavior. Invited herself to my neighbor's party when I was there, even though she wasn't invited. Proceeded to make an ass of herself. Would make constant targeted comments about me smoking weed, even though we're in a legal state. Destroyed 3 cars in her 8-month stay, all in unique ways. Threatened suicide to make me feel like her behavior was somehow my fault. She kicked my cat so hard, she almost killed her. We'd been friends since we were 15. F you, Samantha. Edit. This happened 30 years ago, and I'll never get over it. I was 21 and poor, so saving her was a huge deal financially. The vet is an effing son. I'm so thankful she survived the ordeal. She was a trooper. She lived to be 19. After Samantha moved out, a mutual acquaintance told me it was sad I let a friendship go over money. F you, unique named person. 2. Edit. I wasn't there to see it. Another roommate was. F you, Samantha. How is Kitty doing now? I spent $600 in 1992, so $1,200 today, to save her life. Her intestines were wrapped around her heart. She lived another 16 years after this. She was the best kitty. Dorm roommate. Slept 16 hours a day. If he wasn't in class or out with his weird little friend smoking salvia, he was sleeping. He'd bitch at me for any noise I made. I ended up spending a lot of time in my girlfriend's dorm. Damn. I think I'd be picking a fight if someone bitched at me for making noise during the day. When I was in college, my roommate was out of this world. She would ask my parents to pay her side of the rent bills. She would eat my groceries, take my car. Her boyfriend basically lived with us. I finally had to kick her out. She even tried to have sex with me at one point. She knew I was a lesbian, so I guess she wanted to try things out with me, but I said no way. I was renting a room from a guy who was separated from his wife. It turned out I knew her, but I didn't know that she was married to him. He was also renting a room to a really annoying woman. They got into a huge fight, and he turned off the power, trying to force her out of the house. It inconvenienced me too, because my clock radio wasn't running, and I needed it to get up to go to work. She called the cops on him, and they told him he had to go through legal processes to get rid of her. Then his wife came back, and they were living together, and they got into a huge fight, and he smashed the TV onto the floor, shattering it. I moved out as soon as I could. While I was living there, I actually had my mail go to the post office, because I didn't trust either of them to not go through my mail. Pissed all over the bathroom floor, routinely, not the inevitable drop or two. I'm talking puddles. He refused to turn the lights, or open his eyes, because he said then he couldn't go back to sleep. Obviously, no cleanup either, he'd just walk away. Roommate only took his daily shit before a shower. After work, he wouldn't wipe his ass, but would proceed to use the shower to wash his ass, like it was a bidet, leaving shit stains in the bottom of the shower. Thankfully, since it was a room rental situation, my partner and I were on the main floor, and didn't use the same bathroom. Later on, he almost assaulted my partner, over him breaking our dog's baby gate, and we got the F out of there.